Greetings and salutations, people of the internet. Today, we're going to be answering a question as old as school shootings. What is the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun? If you've ever been around during one of the millions of school shootings we've had in America, you already know the answer, because you've had this answer drilled into your head so many times. But I'll give you guys some time to figure it out. Okay, spoiler. We're just going to hop into it. The only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, according to the NRA. That's what they like to say. You know, that's the people who they love to protect with the Second Amendment. You know, the only time they really celebrate the Second Amendment is after a school shooting. You know, people start talking about, like, why don't we take guns out of circulation? People shouldn't have guns. It's like, no, we need to have the Second Amendment, because what if the government becomes tyrannical? What if the government just starts getting in your face, stealing your rights, making it so you don't, they could just invade your space. They could do illegal search and seizures, detaining you for no good reason, asking you for your papers, like Nazi Germany. Like, this is the thing we should be worried. We need the guns to prevent this, or so the NRA tells us every time we have a school shooting. Now, the logic behind that is sound for me. Like, you know, if we really want to prevent tyranny, you know, we have to arm ourselves in some way, even though the government, like, they are armed in ways we can't even imagine. You know, you see, I mean, beyond the drones and all the Reaper bombs and all that shit that they could drop on you from the heavens without you even seeing coming. They also got the robots. They got the AI controlled, deadly automatons, the shit that they warned us about in Terminator and every other dystopian future film. I mean, you could argue that people like Elon Musk got the idea from them. But it's like, yeah, you know, the government has all that shit, but it makes sense. You want to have a gun because you just never know. The jackbooted thugs could be, coming any day now. But as soon as we have a good guy with a gun who's stepping in to defend someone who's being pepper sprayed by one of the jackbooted thugs after they just killed another woman in Minneapolis, that person is disarmed and then killed immediately after that, like a dog kneeling on all fours. And the NRA released a statement like, "Oh, he had it coming. What was he expecting? Showing up to a protest with a gun that he didn't draw." Even though he showed up to protest, armed thugs who showed up in masks, who don't announce themselves. This is like exactly the shit that they warn us about. While we need guns, and as soon as we run into the threat that they say we got to have school shooters we have to endure school shooters so we can have the Second Amendment to protect ourselves. And then we have the threat, and then it's like, shh, be quiet. I mean, but I'm a fan of the Panthers. So I've been knowing the hypocrisy of the NRA, because for certain communities, the government has always been tyrannical. It was created in a way where it's just like it was meant to put the full force and weight of the government at the neck of certain communities. Black Panthers, they stood against tyranny, starting with their inception in the 60s. The NRA was totally against them showing up with guns. So them and Ronald Reagan, they passed laws. The only time they passed gun protection laws was when black people showed up with guns. Then it's like, loosey goosey, keep it loosey goosey for, all the school shooters. So we could have like thousands of people dying yearly. We got the highest rate of gun death. And it's like, shh, be quiet while other poor people are killing other poor people. But you show up to stand up against tyranny, then the NRA, they take a stance against you. And they speak bad on you posthumously while you're not there to defend yourself. And, of course, they donate to all the politicians who love ICE, who love genocides, who love all the evil shit, the evil system that, because they're all a big part of it. It's like it's one big club and you ain't in it. What's up, Nate Diggs? Oh, nice digs. Well, thank you. I don't know if that's the clothes or the housing situation, but appreciate it. Riot control Humvees with bass frequencies that is directed at a direction. Well, I mean, yeah, they got all kinds of stuff that we like. They've been using for a while, but we don't really have the full ins and outs. Like when it comes to like crowd control, a lot of the stuff it was they test out in on the captive population, like in Gaza, other war torn areas. We just hear about deaths and all that shit. We don't hear about how the weapons that they try out. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using a lot of that those robots out there. I mean, it's just like it was a few years ago. They had a what is it? The robot dogs. They released them in Honolulu. They had them like patrolling the streets and shit. And yeah, this was like before the fires in Hawaii. And before they dumped the I mean, I guess they were already dumping the jet fuel in the water. What is it, Red Rock or whatever that shit was? But they hadn't announced, it hadn't been exposed. But it's like all that shit, motherfucker. We need to be fighting, and we don't need to wait for permission from master to stand up. So it's not. I've never shot a gun in my life. I made that a point. I remember it was a friend tried to invite me to a shooting range. Multiple people tried to invite me. One time it was like right after a Texas shooter. They used like a drone to go in and blow him up because apparently he was shooting at cops. And then they released like the picture of what he looked like. And it looked like someone did like a sketch of me. I was like, that's like, I do not want to be seen with a gun. And these times, because I feel like that's just going to be used to vilify me. And, the government has already, they already came for me. Like that when Nate Fliss got shut down, that was the Atlantic Council. That was government agency interference. I don't need a reason like be like see me with like looking at a scope and then then I got the FBI at my neck. But yeah, the only thing that stop a bad guy with a gun is a revolutionary with the crowd. That's the real answer. It's domestic. I think it was Minneapolis where Panthers exercised their right recently. Oh yeah, and you know what? It was like Philadelphia Panthers, or they were calling themselves Panthers. They showed up with guns. They showed up ready to protect the people. Then they had to like change their name, and it was funny because I was around Elaine Brown. She was the last person to lead the national chapter of the original Black Panthers, the Oakland chapter. She started Black Panther Housing a few years ago. But she got approached by someone who was talking about asking her how she felt about the new Panthers. And she was like, that's not us. That's not what we were about. And, like I said, she started Black Panther Housing, which was housing to the least of the chronically homeless, people getting out of jail, people who it's harder to find homes. The Black Panther Housing was geared towards them. It's like certain people, they pick up the weapons. they don't focus on the community aspect, which is, taking care of your neighbors, feeding your neighbors, getting health care to them. And I don't know the ins and outs of the Philadelphia chapter of the people who call themselves the Panthers, but I know the OG Panthers, they weren't as ready to pass the name on. So I wear a lot of Panther shit, um, Panther gear, because I celebrate the legacy. Um, but some people, like the OG Panthers, they're not like so eager to hand down the reins to the young bucks. I mean, unless you can like prove that you actually love the community, you don't just want to pick up a gun and shoot people. It's domestic. Heck yeah. Hell's yeah, motherfucker. Like concussion grenade, but constant effect. Well, I don't know if anybody remembers back with the CIA. They were complaining about auditory weapon that was used to scramble the brains of their agents in Cuba. They were talking about the Cubans had this weapon that they were releasing. It's like it's a sound that emits that like scrambles the brain, and it like makes people just go crazy in their brain. And they got millions of dollars to help people who their agents who are out in Cuba infiltrating the Cuban people. And let's not forget, like Cuba, their number one export is medicine. Like they care about their people more than we do. It's Americans who go to Cuba for cancer treatment that they can't get out here or they can't afford out here. And they get better treatment in Cuba than they do in America. Um, and we were sending in CIA agents to overthrow that government. Just like it's in Venezuela, they have a program for low income Americans to get low price fuel to heat their homes through cold winter months. They have programs that help Americans more than the American government has for them. And we want to overthrow them instead of learning from them. Because they also have publicly owned Citco. So all the profits that they make from their oil, their publicly owned oil company, it goes to the people, you know. But we can't learn from them. We want to give them the same oligarchs we have, and that's why we just really got to learn. Like they won't give us health care. They'll give millions of dollars. The thing that was scrambling people's brains in Cuba, in the CIA, that they gave millions of dollars to their agents for, it was the crickets. the crickets out there, what they thought was a weapon that was deployed on their CIA agents, but it was crickets. And they thought that the crickets were destroying their brains. I think it wasn't just the crickets. I think it was also the conscience. Like Jiminy Cricket was supposed to be Pinocchio's conscience. And I think it was like the agents going out there, they see what the Cubans had, even with all those sanctions, see Americans coming over there to get health care. And they're like, why are we here to overthrow this government? Like they do more for American citizens than the American government. But I'm working, and then I think their conscience with the crickets started fucking them up. But right now it's only a theory because all the evidence points to CIA not having any conscience whatsoever. I mean, you can look at Edward Snowden. He was like a contractor. He exposed a lot of the stuff they were doing, but like the real evil ones. The shit floats to the worst shit floats to the top of the toilet bowl. Brother X, if another person puts their hand on you or tries to kill you, defend yourself by any and all means. Hallelujah. On his birthday or death day is I was gonna say it's coming up. It's not March yet. March 21st. What do you know about gang stalking, Nate? Or should I ask you, believe the program even exists? Is that when you have a gang of people following you? Um, I vaguely remember it's like trying to make people paranoid and feel crazy or something. I mean, here's the thing: when we start getting into what the government is willing to fund, and like some of the shit that I've encountered myself, like it's all kinds of fuckery that happened. Like even after I lost my channel, like shit that ways that Google and the government intervened to make sure I didn't have any money. Like I could not get benefits because it was like a bunch of Google stock that it said I could that it said I owned that I did not own. I had no access to, but it was like when I was trying to apply for stuff, it was saying you have this asset that if I had access to the asset, I wouldn't be applying for shit. And then I ran into, I don't know if you guys know the whole Erica Kirk situation where it's like it's looking like she was on some shady shit. With like she was sent in to control Kirk Cameron, or no, not Kirk Cameron, Charlie Kirk. Um, yeah, I ran into a few Erica Kirk. This is why I had to get the fuck out of LA. I feel like there was like a fuckload of Erica Kirk types. Um, yeah, I had, just weird situations. One of them ended up, or probably more than one, but it was like one who I knew definitely ended up in a Disney. It was a Disney house, a house that she discovered through this thing she did with Disney, and it looked like that was just for sex trafficking. Um, it was like some crazy shit. And this was like before OnlyFans or any of that shit. It was just some weird, crazy shit, and that's a good amount of my trust issues came from a lot of that shit. Yeah, good times. It's your cousin. Ha 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 ha. Oh, and you say that, and I don't know if you're being literal or not, but it's like several people who always said that it's your cousin, and it was not a cousin. But yeah, um, if they make frequency devices for rodents, people can hear it too. It's sound. Well, it doesn't register for some. It's just like they have frequency devices for teenagers. The mosquito sound. Only people below a certain age can hear it because, hearing degrades after a certain point. Uh, I mean, I'm supposed to be above the age to hear the mosquito, but I still hear it. How money's laundered by sending it to here and there. Um, well, it's like I'm a butcher a quote, but Michael Parenti, he recently died. And he was talking about aid. He was like the aid programs we have. He was like how Americans talk about aid. It's like this highfalutin, like we're going to be helping these poor people, but it's really a way for poor people in rich countries to send money to rich people in poor countries. And then like the systems that we like the shit was it the Machado chick out in Venezuela. Um, like we got all kinds of ways of funding the most evil people in countries that we should be learning from to overthrow the governments, um, and put and install something that's more familiar to the American population. You know, like anytime we celebrate a leader, especially a new leader, like Iran, they're so bad, they're so evil. We got to protect the Iranian protesters. But we got protesters over here being killed. Why do we care so much about the Iranian protesters? But we celebrate them, the protests over there, but like we make it okay to kill the protesters over here because the protesters over there are the ones we are funding and they're they showing up, they're setting cops on fire, shooting them, killing them, and the protesters out, the non-violent protesters out here, um, they get killed if they're anywhere near a gun, even if the gun has been taken away by the jackbooted thugs. It's like, well, you had it coming. You were supposed to die. That's why it's just like a big part of it. We got to stop perpetuating the system because they depend on us to do it. So most of my family, military, if all of them stop following orders, if all their friends stop following orders, stop cracking down on people in their own community, and they focus on the criminals who are in control of shit, like that's when we see a change. Only thing to stop a bad guy with a gun is someone who's trained to fight for a tyrannical government waking up and capturing the real enemy, which is domestic, and it's state, local, federal, largely, mostly federal government. Federal, I was at a protest which was followed by a Know Your Rights event, and the protest was uh, hosted by a group that I'm seriously skeptical of. I didn't know, because I found out about it through my union. My union was all about it. I get there, find out who's hosting it, and it's the same organization that had an event for this dude who was just all anti-Trump. This was before Trump's second term. That's why Trump was still in his first term in office. He was like, "Oh, fuck Trump, fuck Trump." But while he was a senator, he voted for all of the worst shit, the detention centers at the border. Like he voted like basically all of this ICE shit. He funded it as precursors leading up to it. And he was completely against Medicare for all. We were calling him out because he was taking all kinds of money. It's a video. It's employee evaluation. The Reds are coming. It's where you can see us calling him out. Denny Heck, right? He was the event. The people who hosted that event, they were hosting this other event that was anti-ICE, which I was already. Once I found out it was their event, I was like kind of skeptical. But I went to the the event to know your rights event, and it was that was hosted by the ACLU. And the ACLU, they have been very questionable when it comes to like the Palestine, like all super Zionists. It was just mad suspicious. I feel like they're trying to launder their name because they had like a lot of bad press, both these organizations. And yes, but it was while we're at the Know Your Rights event, they were talking about like talking about the Fourth Amendment, um, which ICE. There was a memo that came out. It was a whistleblower who leaked a memo where they were basically like, you don't have to acknowledge people's Fourth Amendment rights. Just go and search and seizure at your own will. Just do it if you want to, right? And I was like, when we got to the questions, I was like, well, they brought up the memo. Like they said, they're going to be violating our Fourth Amendment rights regardless. And I was like, are we going to have people of conscience go work for ICE, use those powers to go after Zionist billionaires who are creating these laws? Like we can show them like the only way that they'll actually care about changing the laws if or doing something about ICE is if it's affecting them personally. Gave a much shorter question. But once I just mentioned us, people of conscience going in and infiltrating ICE and using it against the people who create the system, people started laughing. Largely the ACLU people, the speakers. But like that's some serious shit. Like I've been thinking about that for a minute. I would love to see people go up and deport Elon Musk, to, like hold him for ransom, like get the money out of his account, the money that he stole from us, all those billions of dollars in subsidies. Like make it so that like he goes back to South Africa with less money than he came here with. You know, we could go out. It was the Zionist. It was the son of a Israeli diplomat. He ran over a cop with a motorcycle, and he got away with it. Like if we had ICE, people of conscience in ICE, we can go after those Zionist and Israeli diplomats, the ones who control our government, who thumb their nose at the law. I'm not pro cop. I mean, I'm grateful for cops not wearing masks now and the ones who announce their badge numbers. But like, I still wouldn't want anybody from another government running over a cop with a motorcycle, especially if the cop was just trying to stop some drunk kid riding a motorcycle being dangerous. But yeah, so if we're gonna have masked thugs working for the government, why don't we, why don't they give me the $50,000 signing bonus, and I go crack the heads of the people who needs their heads cracked, and you guys can hold me accountable. We get like a team, we coordinate, we got our own little thing. We could like set up a group chat where we just discuss our own shit. Where you gonna be at? I'm gonna be arresting some criminals. I mean, I go after the Saudi royalty. I ran into some Saudi princes a few years ago. If you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. But like, I got no qualms locking them up too. Treat them like common thugs. But what do I know? Whoop whoop. Who internet? All right, I'm about to go upload the new rewind for you to go check out at Netflix.net. And yeah, I'll be doing another live shortly, but it was good to catch up with you guys. Don't forget to be good to each other. Peace.